pozdrav svima. Dobrodošli na prvi kursor Meetup u Novom Sadu. Većina današnjeg predavanja će biti na engleskom jeziku, ali eto, da vam poželim dobrodošli su i na srpskom. Welcome everyone to Cursor Community Meetup here in Novi Sad. First, I'll give you a short introduction about why we're all here and show you the agenda for today. So, how many of you know what Cursor is? Show your hand. Okay, most of us here know about Cursor, but for those who don't, it's basically a code editor that has integrated AI support. So it's a fork of Visual Studio Code, and they enabled AI features inside of it. And it's become pretty popular in the past year, and yeah, that's why we're here to discuss some AI topics, to learn more about Cursor. I assume many of you are actually, how many of you are using Cursor in your day-to-day work? Okay, great. So yeah, and I want to mention this Cursor Cafe, as you might see on the screen. Cursor Cafe will be on January 18th, and the idea is, so it will be more premium event for developers who want to. Okay, I'll continue like this. So everyone can hear me well. Okay. So Cursor Cafe in January, 18th of January, is going to be more premium event, smaller venue, but for builders, specifically for those of you who want to maybe get some Cursor credits or meet other builders or exchange ideas, build cool stuff together. And lastly, special thanks to Startit for having us here. They provided this venue. And I would love to invite Vukashin to say a few words.
Just super quick,
yep.
Few words, I don't want to steal your thunder. How many of you are excited by AI? How many of you have been to an event in this place this year? That's a much smaller number of hands, which is very bad for you. We have great amounts of super high quality AI events almost every week, like 4 per month. You are losing out. You should come here more often. So there's no way that they're going to say later that my message was not clear. Thank you so much. Bravo.
Yeah. And yeah, Vukashin is a great host. He is always super welcome for everyone. So definitely check out these events. If you want to connect with me on X, you can do it by scanning the QR code. We can connect later as well. But yeah, welcome here once again. Now we will go through small agenda for today. Before that, these are some of the meetups. So Novi Sad is not the only place, if you wondered, where Cursor is organizing events. In the past, across the globe, many ambassadors. So myself, I'm an ambassador for Cursor. I'm trying to build a community here. My goal is to educate more people, to bring you guys together, to exchange ideas, to network with each other as well. The agenda after this intro talk, there's going to be a talk by Evgeny, this guy here, and I'll introduce you better. But the talk is called "There Are No Shortcuts." It's going to be an interesting talk. You'll see about his experience and how you can build some sort of frameworks around AI and how to use it better, around LLMs specifically. And then we'll have Juan from Cursor team joining us for Q&A. So I encourage you guys, if you didn't already submit your question through the form before event, think about the questions, and we can ask Juan more questions later. And then after that, we'll have some pizza. It's going to be like pizza and drinks party and 1.5 hours of networking. Make sure to meet each other. There's a lot of people, so use the time. About the speaker, Evgeny, if you want to see more info about him, he has a nice website. But in short, he's a co-founder and CEO of Guru Network. And previously, he worked as a software developer at Hulu or Disney. And yeah, with that, I would invite Evgeny to take the stage.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming here.
One sec. I'll give you this. Okay, let me see.
Sure. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Want me to change slides? Or you?
Yeah, yeah. You can change slides, bro. Okay, I'm Evgeny, CTO and founder of DexGuru initially. We started in 2021, and over the years, our trading terminal, DexGuru is a trading terminal, processed more than $1 billion in transactions without any hacks or security issues, which is quite amazing for crypto. And as well as evolved into multiple data analytics products and eventually into Guru agentic frameworks. That's why I'm speaking here today about AI development and agentic frameworks in general. And the topic of the speech is like there are no shortcuts in AI development, but there is some leverage for sure. But sometimes that leverage is hard to extract, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So about agenda. I wanted to talk a little bit about large language models in general, what they actually are and where we are with them right now, as well as what happened in 2025 comparing to previous years, which allowed us to develop better, deliver better products, and what actually became open for everyone. So in 2026, we can actually jump in and start doing new things better, bigger, and so on and so forth. And as we are raising hands in here, how many of you guys delivered some agentic applications this year? Quite a good percentage already. So it's just a vibe check. So let's start from the question, what was your first program in kind of any language? When you starting your journey with whatever language of choice and through tutorials, you usually starting with just one particular example. And what it is usually? Hello World. That's exactly what it is. And why Hello World is crucial, it's actually giving you an example of that you can send the command to interpreter and get something back. And it actually proves that the whole system works, like you got it in and you got something out. So you gave machine an instruction, you got something back, and that's like a fundamental thing for all those communications in between you and machine, and it proves the thing. Why it's crucial with LLMs, because large language models, essentially, those are like computational machines, as I see it right now with all those, I can say, years of experience already. With traditional CPUs, we have those instructions. For example, in x86 architecture, we have thousands of instructions. With RISC, we have hundreds. But with LLMs, we have billions of parameters, which could be treated in that case as kind of instructions. And when we prompt into those, when we doing hello world type of thing, we're doing pretty much the same, but the results of those computational machines in case of LLMs are actually not that deterministic. So prompts are effectively programs which you're running on top of those new computational machines, which are not happening on hardware, but on that new level of abstraction. So when we are in chat window, when we asking, for example, ChatGPT just to do something, we are effectively still writing hello world type of things against the LLMs. And in the same time, most of us like expecting some kind of intellectual results, but we still need to remember that what's behind it, it's still computational machine. So, but real programs are usually in like programming language, which we developed on top of like more traditional computational machines, which we're all comfortable with. They not only about like print statements and hello world type of things. They have like conditional loops. They have states, validation ways to validate the results, and on high level abstractions, it has like all those OOP paradigms and error handling and catching. So I believe that when we approached that first kind of version of LLMs with chat windows, we came to this kind of assembly era of AI where we just drop in simple instructions and expecting something back without any kind of infrastructure around it, which in traditional computer science and with those like languages we already have in there, like for example, C, CPP, Java, all those things, we already have this infrastructure. But with LLMs, we are still in this assembly mode where we drop in something and expecting some results back, and those results are not deterministic and we're not happy about it. But infrastructure is not there, and that's why we need to create kind of new languages in there and frameworks, as well as maybe we can call it even operational systems, because it's not only about creating those infrastructure of like languages, but having a memory in there, like short-term memory, long-term memory, and ability to use it. So effectively, what 2025 actually showed us with all those like involvement of Cloud Code, Cursor, and some of the business frameworks, that operational system for all those new computational machines actually needed to start extracting the value from them. And because developers, they basically develop for themselves first, we see those examples with Cloud Code and Cursor first, but I believe that actual business value extraction is still like somewhere in the future, and we'll see application of the same things like in next chapters of it. So one of the interesting examples I came by in the middle of the year was like BMAD framework, which architectured all those minor primitives of like high level like a language for large language models, as if you're treating them as like interpreter for those computational machines. And it's structured pretty interestingly, where you have like context in markdown files, as well as you have like real instructions in YAML files, and all that combined together creates all the set of primitives you would expect from like a more like high-level language. So in my experience, it was like first complete example of creating some infrastructure around it or operational system around it. And what's actually should be there to proceed, what we expecting to be there. We should have like logical branching, loop, state management, validation, and memory in there. And all this possible if you are creating all those primitives and following all those traditional computer science like paradigms which we were developing for decades already, but applying it to new computational machines. And that's actually where we are right now, because of lack of those of this infrastructure and lack of those new languages which are adjusted to be used on top of models as interpreters and computational machines, we are in that limbo right now where there are huge investments in AI infrastructure with that promise that in future we would get lots out of it, but there is no much value extracted yet. The actual infrastructure investments contributed to 1% of US GDP growth this year. At the same time, the actual performance increase and outcomes of it in most adopted, in the sector which was mostly adopting it, like software development, averaging is at 10-15%. And again, why it is? Because there is still no infrastructure and there is no framework around it. But we as a team, as a Guru network, we are quite early with those ideas. In 2024, so almost 2 years ago, we published white paper where we declared our vision with combining large language models with traditional business process automation engines, which are used in traditional finances and banking sector and insurance companies. So it would create this kind of infrastructure, which would create guardrails for large language models, agents, and will create ability to extract business value of it. We are developing it for 2 years already, and right now we starting creating starting deploying production applications on top of it, which kind of proves our point at this stage. And on the way there, we started transitioning our own work, because those new tools and those for example, Cursor and Cloud Code as operational systems for developers, they allowed us to move faster, deliver better, and change actually how we are working ourselves. So we started applying the same principles to our work, and we were able to optimize the team, get more while still keeping deliveries. And for example, in this year, we switched. In the beginning of the year, we have only 30% of the code and all our services delivered with AI tools, and now we're getting to 99% of the code delivered by them. And it's how it was done. I wanted to cover a little bit topic here of how we actually applying those new development principles on our daily lives. And obviously, it's quite a simple framework here, but for everyone who's using Cursor and Claude in your daily activities, you already know that there is plan features in there and debugging features and some other stuff. But again, maybe it's not so clear for everyone, but everything starts with the planning. And when you're planning with all those tools, you need to read those plans and correct them. Maybe it sounds boring sometimes, but it's a crucial step. Then you basically delegating the task and then assessing the results. And in that assessing step, you need to be aware of assessment methodics and everything what's been developed there in computer science throughout the decades. For example, apply testing frameworks, CI/CD with different mechanics of checking, of healthiness of the deployment, and code reviews, even if those happening with the agents. And after going through those, one of the major steps which became possible with all those AI tools is codifying what has been done. So everything what those tools are doing, it's leaving the traces with different markdown files, and we actually keeping those in there and making something like framework from them, so that repeatable knowledge actually compounds. And that's what gets us to a new term here, which became possible. It's like compounding engineering, where each feature makes next one easier and not harder because you have all that context in place and you can point that context to your tool. So at next step, you actually reusing your own, like your agentic things instead of like redeveloping them from scratch. There are other benefits of, like using those AI tools right now in this kind of framework that new hires or new freelancers can come into your repositories, can hook up their like cursor on Cloud and be productive from day one because all this context is already there, all those like finds and solutions already there. Also, working in parallel became kind of a new thing. It's always been, but right now you can spin up multiple Git work trees and work on multiple branches at the same time in multiple terminals. And code became really cheap. So instead of, for example, demoing or pitching or creating like those presentations for everyone to be on the same page, you just vibe coding the solution or creating a demos. So that work in parallel and speeding up of the things actually getting tremendous results in the end. But one of the main things which we figured out on the way of adoption is that it's very hard to work with a team where you have some people like using AI periodically, and some of them like adopted it by 100%. If there is this context mismatch between how people are using the tools, the whole like performance gains, we starting to lose them. So this industry average right now is about 10-15% gains from the teams which started using those tools. It could be like 10x if everyone would be on the same page and everyone would use it 100% and would work in the same framework. That's what we've seen in our team, and that's what basically our insight is there. So what 2026 gets us to? Throughout the 2025, new models came, new tools came, and models became smarter and smarter. But in the same time, I believe the main kind of achievement in there is appearance of those operation systems for the development, for coding like Cloud and Cursor, because those operational systems showed us how we can create the tool which are useful for the business, which allows us to extract value from it. And currently it's applied for software development, but I can easily see how it could be applied in other domains in 2026. So the same concept could be proven and applied in different domains, and everyone could ask themselves in which part of like your domain you can start applying them and get those tremendous value extraction. So it's actually everyone's saying right now we like in early days of the internet with AI, and that actually creates opportunity for everyone to jump in and start building, because frameworks for particular domains, they are not here yet, and you don't need to be like Anthropic or OpenAI to start contributing and to get the same kind of percentage and margins of value extraction in with your particular idea and in your particular domain. And as Sam Altman recently said, $1 billion company will happen, and it will happen because someone will create a framework for particular niche, which would basically reutilize the same concepts and paradigms we see in current like frameworks or operation systems for the software development, which we already have right now. And thank you for your time. We have Atlas Agentic Framework, with documentation, and it's open source software, which you can see all those concepts and paradigms already applied with context spread it around and everything I've told in here. And yeah, as if you're interested about myself, here is my X. Okay.
Okay, guys. So we have around 10 more minutes before we have Q&A with Juan from Cursor. So yeah, I suggest we wait. You can chat between each other a little bit, and then we'll set up everything. And if you have any questions, prepare them for Q&A.
What about questions for this?
So we still have time. So if any of you have some questions for this talk specifically, feel free to raise your hand.
Okay, so can you go back to slide 3, 4 or something like that? It's 2025. The title says 2025.
2020.
It's one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so framework, workflow, automation, however you want to name this kind of an ecosystem. For Cloud Code, because I'm most experienced in that, I understand how it works. I understand how you can position those MD files. I know what is the structure of it. Because you can read in their documents and so on. And for Cursor, I have some knowledge, not that much, but I didn't understand this third one. What do you mean by business frameworks?
Yeah, business frameworks, they are starting to emerge. So basically what Cloud Code and Cursor showed us is that you can create like operational system for the model. So model, like imagine model as your like CPU, and for CPU you're creating the program, right? And Cloud Code and Cursor, it's like operational system with memory in your repository, with all those primitives in there which allow you to plan, to execute, to, all those prompts which are baked in there. It's basically operation system for you as a developer, right? So business frameworks are coming in the same place, and they would be created for specific domains, and they would allow people to not only code with LLMs, but to produce business results. So for example, I know, plan your trips, or to order something from online shops or anything else. And those business frameworks, they starting to emerge. And like, for example, BMAD workflow, which I called out on the next slide, it's already have a special kind of extension for copywriting, for example. And that extension works the same way. It has all those primitives, so it's like operation system for copywriting with memory, with instructions, with like prompts, with templates, with verification of results. And that's what I mean by that. That to apply the same concept and the same paradigm we see in those software development tools to new domains, we would need to create those, operation systems for those domains. But we can see how it works in software development and just start migrating it there.
Okay, follow-up question. So let me just try to paraphrase what you said, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's like a specialized system for maybe a broader scale application business, where this specific structure, even though it takes time to develop, would be beneficial overall, because the planning or the time that it takes to create this framework would pay off in the future. Is this?
Yes, for particular domain, because in software development, you have like code as a main artifact of, produced by your tool, right? In, for example, booking system, you have like itineraries for booking as a main artifact produced by it. In, shops, you have like a cart full of different goods as an artifact. And those are different cases, but it could be built, in different niches with the same concept in mind. So, and business frameworks, for example, we are developing this unified business framework, Guru framework. Idea is around like applying traditional business process automation, which you see small diagram in here. It's like a BPMN standard, which is in there for decades already. We are combining this with LLM agents, and we see it as unified framework for business in future. So we are building those kind of business framework right now. Yeah.
Okay, another follow-up question. So you, because I have some experience with BMAD, tried it a couple of times for my particular tasks that I was doing. It was too complex. I didn't need that much architecture. Can you just briefly explain to me how does, for example, Guru framework differ from maybe multiple agents and multiple commands? What are the pros and cons, and how is it different?
No, you basically specifying your business process. You have a way to specify your particular business process. For example, I know credit application bank, like you getting the loan, right? You have multiple forms you have to fill in, and there is like risk calculating, automated service. There are multiple steps, and you can actually put it into predefined diagram, and then you have like agent which gets you from one step to another, and basically suggests you the next steps or giving you results. So this business diagram, as well as the state which is stored in the instance of this diagram, is works as a business artifact in this case. Same way as code in your repository works as artifact of your cursor or code, which is producing it.
Yes, and this looks a lot like automation.
Exactly. It's combining automation with agentic framework.
Okay, and the final question, and that's it from me. How do you decide when it is enough? For example, for me, I have difficulty finding out whether or not a simple prompt with detailed instructions will be enough, or if I need to specify multiple agents with multiple MD files and then to create a workflow. It's difficult for me because BMAD for me was definitely too extensive.
Yeah.
You have very many agents, and then it just clutters everything. It takes too much time, and sometimes it's just sometimes simpler tools are much better. And then it's difficult to find a sweet spot.
You know the feeling I had with BMAT when I started working with it from like the full way, right? I had that feeling that I came back to this enterprise organization I used to work with. For example, I worked in Disney, and our department was around like 100 people with 7 different teams, separate like QA team, like product managers, and we were all like exchanging all those documents. So literally what I've seen in BMAT, that those documents are produced and they are exchanged, the same I've seen in like that big organization. And yeah, of course, when you develop in solo and when you don't need all this synchronization between all those things, you don't need it, right? And that's usually the feeling when you work in an enterprise software development, that too much bullshit happening around, too many meetings, it's cluttered. So the same feeling. And the guy who developed actually BMAD, I watched him on YouTube a lot, and he's exactly the type I've met in my previous career in those like enterprise setups. So BMAT trying to mimic all this bigger organization, like processes and mechanics in very detail. It could be beneficial in some cases, it could be not. But what I ended up doing with BMAT is actually using like pieces of it when you understand that this kind of deep dive is needed and detailed, like for example, product requirement document is needed. And not using it otherwise. It's like a gut feeling already at that point.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for a great question. This is good. So maybe one more question from anyone. Okay.
pretty simple one. So you had a slide back there towards the end that talked about the difference between the context that, the amount of context being used by different people in the team. I think that was the slide. One of them was
yeah. It was like the last one probably.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that? Because I think your premise was that it's very inefficient when somebody uses LLMs a lot and someone doesn't inside a team. Do you have a strategy, or how do you generally look when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's 19. So it came out to be our strategy just firing people. like if you basically all the people who hadn't got in pace with everyone who absorbed it, we just had to fire them. That's it.
And how do you determine if their usage is sufficient?
It's hard question actually. No, like it was on the way that that everyone who joins that crowd, who starts shipping, we became like a team in ourselves, and everyone who hadn't started using the tools, they became just outsiders, and it was quite clear, So yeah, for us it was a kind of easy decision this year because we had to shrink the team anyway because of like financial problems and we were like optimizing, we're doing this AI transition and optimizing the costs at the same time. So it was like easy easy decision. Yeah.
That was great. Thanks for question, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
So guys, we'll start